2015 and 2020. So thankfully, he actually gets to coach a game in the NCAA tournament this year for the first time in 10 years. And obviously, it is the first time that Robert Morris has won the championship as a member of the Horizon League in year 5. So, Coach, congratulations. Just opening thoughts from you.
Yeah, just really proud of this group. I thought going into this game, we talked a lot about being able to take care of the ball. 8 turnovers for the game against Youngstown, I think, is, showing that you've taken care of the ball in a major way. We talked about rebounding the ball. We were able to out-rebound them by 7, and we wanted to defend. And I thought, the middle of that second half, our defense really stood up, allowed us to build the lead that we built, and then we were able to make enough plays to hang on.
So down in front right here, we'll get started, and we'll work the players in as they come along. Go ahead.
Yeah, Coach, obviously had that 2020 NCAA tournament taken away from you guys back then. I guess now, what were the immediate emotions going through your head after? How gratifying is it to see this coming true?
Well, I mean, I don't think that you ever are fully resolved from the emotions of that 2020 experience. As I was getting ready to get on the bus, I saw on Twitter that 5 years ago today was when Rudy Gobert tested positive for COVID, right? And right after that news came out, I got a text from Chris King, our AD, and he basically said, we're in trouble, right? And so that next day was Thursday, got canceled Thursday. Friday morning, I walked into the worst locker room I've ever been in my life, right? It was like going to a funeral. And, those guys will always have that disappointment of not being able to participate in the tournament. But this is a different group. This is a different year. These guys have been unbelievable all year long. They've continued to improve all year long. They continued to come together all year long. And that's how we became a championship level team.
Certainly happy to mix in questions for both DJ Smith and Josh Omajafo as well, both members of the Horizon League All-Tournament team. Please go ahead.
Coach, obviously, when you look back on this season and the key performers, a lot of these guys next to you, and Cam Woods also, who isn't here yet, they weren't recognized by the conference necessarily. And so now they got their recognition tonight, and they really go to show how much of a team effort this winning season was, like you mentioned. So could you just give comments on the guys next to you and just the team overall and what went into instilling this winning mentality into them?
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of good players in the Horizon League. There's a lot of talent in the Horizon League. And in order to become a championship level team, you have to have guys that are willing to accept and embrace and excel in their roles. And these 2 guys to my right are great examples of that. Both of them have led us in scoring in big games. They've made big shots. They've made big plays all year long, right? They probably don't get the recognition they deserve with the contributions they've given. But the people in the locker room, the people that watch us all the time, know the value that they bring, and the value is immense. And so even though Varro and Mar and Cam sometimes get a little more of the recognition, I mean, when we clinched the regular season championship, Josh had 27 points, right? When we clinched tonight, he had 24 points. I thought that his rebounding was as impactful as anything else that he did tonight, 13 rebounds, right? Those plays don't always get celebrated by you guys, but we celebrate them, right? We celebrate them, we see them, we value them, and there's no way in hell that we could be even close to the team that we've been without these guys, without Ish Plett, without Ryan Prather, right? Without Chris Ford, Dylan Miller, all those guys that are stepping up, making plays, giving contributions whenever it's needed, right? And that's, again, the only way that you're going to be able to get to this level. You have to have some good players, right? You have to have some talent. You have to have some competitiveness, but you have to have some guys that are willing to accept and do whatever they can to help the team, and that's what these guys have done all year.
Cam Woods joining us again, our Vallejo Horizon League Tournament MVP. So again, questions for student athletes or coach. Chris, go ahead.
Yeah, Coach, you guys finished 9th last season. I'm sure you don't just say, hey, we're 9th now, we'll be 1st next year. I'm sure there was a lot of evaluation that went in and, creating some priorities and that sort of thing. I'm wondering, what were some of the things that you all decided, hey, these are the things that we're going to focus on so that we can start that upward climb?
I thought last year our biggest issue was our lack of ability to defend, right? Either defending in space, defending with physicality. And so we wanted to go out and we wanted to look for guys that play with an energy and an edge to them on the defensive side of the floor, right? And these 3 guys all do it. Mar does it. Ish does it, right? Those were guys that helped kind of transform our defensive identity on the court. And When we needed to get stops, we were able to get stops. When we needed to protect the rim, we were able to protect the rim, right? Those were areas that we were so deficient at last year. We just couldn't get stops. We couldn't get rebounds when we needed to. And these guys came in. They're great competitors. It started from the summer. I've said that, a million times in the last week. Starting in the summertime, there was great pride in how these guys played the game. There was great competitiveness to how they play the game. And initially, it was a little bit of maybe an individual pride as some of the pecking order was kind of getting figured out. But as they came together, it became a great collective pride, and you could see it in the way that they played the game.
Chris, you got another question?
Yeah, question for Cam. Noticed you've played at 5 different places. I'm wondering if you can talk a little bit about what might have been different or what distinguishes Robert Morris from some of those other experiences.
Just being comfortable, being with a coach that believe in me. And college is all about the motivation, your head space. It don't matter how many drills you do. If you're not confident in what you do, it's not going to produce. And this is a place I feel like I be myself and find myself again.
Let's go back down in front here real quick. Go ahead.
Yeah, Josh. So after the game, just cutting down the nets, graffiti coming down, punching your ticket. Can you just walk me through what's going through your head, what those emotions are just like for you in that moment?
I think ultimately it was just a surreal feeling because I think from the start of the season, our whole motto was just believe when nobody else does. And I think even up until like the end of the regular season, like they still didn't believe, they still had us losing. So I think we had a little bit of like a chip on our shoulder. So I think that just motivated us to keep going and stay the course and just keep pushing through adversity. And we won. So we got a lot more to give.
Bob, go ahead.
This question is for DJ. Over the course of the season, at least in my estimation, you've been kind of a big piece of kind of facilitating, Josh and Cam and Alvaro and Amarion. What kind of being able to, what did it say that your coach has the confidence to have you be that key facilitator during the season?
It's just some, when we go back to the film and I know the pieces around me, they just kind of encourage me to continue to get, my teammates involved as well as, be aggressive and look for me. But it's just these guys finishing plays, my coaches just believing in me, honestly.
Go ahead.
First question for DJ and Cam. When Cam came back from injury, there was sort of like a bump span where it felt like one of you would have a good game, the other one was a bit off. But last month, both of you have had really good games. Have there something that allowed you to mesh even better to not only on the stat sheet, but just really have great performances on the court?
The first 2 games of the season, we had took a loss. Then the third one, I had got injured. So that took me away from the team for a little minute. And they was playing well. They was winning. And they was having fun. So me just coming back, like, it took time. Like, the first month of December, it was rough. We got it done. Sometimes we didn't get it done. But after we came back from break, we knew what we needed to do to win, and we knew what could happen to lose. So, like, we just fought through that. We competitors. We don't want to lose at all.
Yeah, I think it's just me and him just competitors. Even going all the way back to August in practice, we just went hard every day against each other. And then when he came back, we did have a span where it was either one of us having a good game, but it's just being in the gym together, seeing each other hard work and just trusting one another.
For Josh, you was on a team from Gannon who went from 3 to 20 wins, and now you go on RMU, team 2, Horizon League champion. What were the similarities that you've seen from both of those teams that have allowed you to win?
I would say it wasn't a lot of similarities, but I'd say the number one similarity was just the chemistry. I think from last year's team, we all had great chemistry, which led us to have that connectivity on the court. And I think this year we have exceptional chemistry as well. And I think that's why we're so successful. So I think that's the only thing that we share.
And for Coach, you talked about a lot of newcomers player-wise, but you also have several new assistants. What were the impact that those guys had to the team that's allowed you to win?
I mean, they've done a great job all year long, in their scouting. I think one of the things that they've been able to bring is, all of them have worked for multiple really good coaches, and so I'm picking their brains often saying, hey, what would so-and-so do here? What would so-and-so do here? What would this be like? What would that be like? And they brought some new energy, some new blood. I think anytime you have changes in your staff, you also evaluate yourself and things that, maybe you need to be complimentary of. And sometimes the messages that I deliver and they deliver are the same. They just kind of have some different methods of being delivered, right? And so I think that sometimes that allows different guys to be able to absorb the message a little better, right? And those guys have done a great job of building relationships with these guys. As we all came in, we were all new. We sat down and said, like, I have a vision for what this team can become. And I don't know if our staff, our players knew what that was. And as we've gone the last 6 weeks, they've brought this vision to life. Our staff has helped sell it to them. They've given us a chance and bought into it, but these guys have really brought it to life, and you can see it in the energy they play with, the way they defend, the way they share the ball. Again tonight, 23 assists on 29 baskets. Like, that's just great team basketball. And it's so much fun for me to watch these guys play the way that they're playing, and our staff has had such an impact on them even in the short time they've been with us.
Time for a couple more. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, Coach. Obviously, speaking of messages, in the midst of the celebrations, there has been a clear one of the job is not done. As you're entering the tournament, something you've experienced and something a couple other of your players have experienced, even though a majority of them haven't, what's going to be the messaging going into this game, and how do you really plan on practicing for a game where such little mistakes are going to be accepted?
Yeah, I mean, every game, such little mistakes are accepted. We talked all about leading into this tournament how the difference is in the details, right? And last night we had a couple plays that almost really cost us, and they were a breakdown of detail. And so these guys are aware of that. They know that. As you said, some of them have been a part of this tournament before. And so, we're going to take a couple days. When we get back to practice, we're going to continue to work. We're going to continue to do what we've done so that we can continue to put the jersey on. And I think that that's something we've talked about as well is, slowly teams are having to hand their jerseys in, right? We want to continue to stay together and play together. I think one of the best compliments you can have as a coach is that you don't want the season to end, right? You love being around these. I love being around these guys. They're fun to be around, but they know when it's time to be serious. They know when it's time to compete, but they do it in a way where they're enjoying it as it's happening, right? And that, as a coach, is something that, is special.
Time for one more. Anybody else? Anybody else? Guys, congratulations. Look forward to seeing your name on Selection Sunday in a few days. Go enjoy it.
Let's do it. Selection Sunday.